still annoyed. She didn't obviously want me to medicalise, and I didn't want to when I was a kid because I was too scared.
Thank you, level up. Thank you, Chatty, thank you.
Somebody had mentioned in the comments that you work at a women's shelter.
Where did you get that from, Karen?
It was in the comments.
I used to volunteer. I used to volunteer at a shelter, yes, for women, but it's not. It's not a solely women's shelter. What?
Do you like men?
Wait,
Can we let him answer?
Yeah, why? I don't know what's happened. Very
How long is this answer going to be? A half hour?
I literally just started talking.
Well, if you keep
talking this whole time,
it's going to be until tomorrow.
People keep asking me questions.
In defense of the notion of a man volunteering or working at a women's shelter, I've done both.
And the thing is, right, is that I explained this on the live that I said this on, and I will explain it again, and I'm explaining one more time until people understand that this shelter isn't just walk in and you just get a bed. Like, there is a process. You have to talk to people, and while you're having those conversations, there are also men who work at the shelter, and there are two parts to this shelter. There is a women's-only ward, whatever, section, and then there is the section where it is women only who stay there, but there is male staff. So when these women come in, the people who speak to them, who are always female, by the way, born female, always the ones who welcome them. No men are at the front at all, because we recognise that there are a lot of people, especially homeless women, who've been traumatised by men. So we recognise that they want to women. And yes, and if you let me get to it, the whole point is that while they're having their introduction process, they are asked whether they would be uncomfortable with being around men. And if they say yes, then they are taken to the section that only has female staff. But there is not that much staff. So we need to have men and women on board because there isn't enough people volunteering at this shelter. So they put an ad out, and I volunteered, along with a bunch of other men who also volunteered.
Almost every women's shelter in America is run the same way, Cass. I've worked at multiple women's shelters, and actually pre-transition, we had male staff doing the outdoor work at a women's shelter that was exclusively for survivors, but it was a farm. It was very removed out in the countryside. And there was this huge farm plot, and they had little goats and stuff, and there were things they couldn't do. So they contracted out a guy, me actually, to go out there and mend their fence and do things like that when I was a teenager. So it's very common for men to be at women's shelters for various different reasons, and there's always policies and regulations in place to ensure that the women who are traumatized are not exposed in any way. Actually, I've told this story before. When I worked at the women's shelter as a teenager, I was volunteer. I tripped, Andy, and I fell, and I sliced my leg open. And there was no other males there. I would show up and do the work and then leave. And I actually had never met any of the women other than the woman who ran the place, and she wasn't there. All of the survivors were in the house alone, and one of them actually came out and took care of my wounds. And she literally approached me like she was terrified of me, even though I was on my back and bleeding, and her hands were trembling, and she washed my wound and bandaged it and then went back inside. But men do show up at those places.
Right.
I won't talk about anything, by the way.
Christy, did you want to finish off your conversation with Taz?
Yeah, really quick. So you came out at 11, you gave your mom a letter, your mom gave you a hug, and you had small talk over that whole entire situation that you thought you were a girl?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a topic that was discussed often. It was sort of we randomly spoke about it over the years many times. And my mum always let me, even when I was younger, she always let me wear whatever I want and present myself however I like, paint my nails, whatever. She was like, all of that is fine because all of these things aren't exclusive to anybody. You can wear makeup if you want and you can do whatever you want. She was always just wear what you want. I'm not going to force you to wear anything. So I was just like, okay, cool. And then
you started dressing feminine at 11?
I mean, I don't know what dressing feminine means. I just wear whatever. I'm not dressing for a certain look.
Well,
I just dress how I want to dress. I wore whatever I wanted. Sometimes I might wear a skirt. Sometimes I was just in jeans and a t-shirt.
That's what I'm
Sounds like
saying.
you're
When you were,
dismayed.
Look,
when you were 11.
with you, are you gonna like? We're letting Christy and Kaz go one-on-one.
I did. Yeah, I was.
You wore like
I guess.
skirts and, yeah, you wore skirts and dresses, and you did your nails and things like that, right?
Yeah, I was. Because I wanted to.
Right. And I just wanted to ask you a couple of more questions. Is your dad around?
Yeah, I live with him now.
Okay. And was your dad there when you were going through this? Did you have like any parental guidance, or you just were kind of like given the free reign to just do and wear and say and act however you wanted to at 11, 12?
Yeah, my dad was there. He didn't live that far away. I saw him like every week, but now he's fine. At the beginning, he grew up in quite a man house, and his mum didn't live with him, so he just had his dad. So he was very like homophobic, very men can't be feminine, you need to be stoic, and all of this stuff. So he was always saying all of that stuff to me. So he didn't really agree with any of that or encourage any of that, and he got really mad at me a lot for doing these things.
So
Like a good dad.
go ahead. Oh, right. I thought
Why, Cass?
He's getting on my nerves. I keep telling him stop interrupting. It's a one-on-one conversation.
No, it's okay. Just so you basically were on your own, kind of like doing and saying and living however you wanted to at early teenagers, so even before puberty.
Well, no, I wasn't living and doing whatever I want because I was 11, so I had a mother. Like, she was mothering me. She wasn't just leaving me alone. Like,
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying, like, as far as like your thought processes and the way you wanted to dress, and she kind of gave you the reign to take over on like what you wanted to wear and how you wanted to present yourself and how you acted and things like that.
I mean, yeah, if I wanted to wear a dress, she wasn't going to stop me. If I wanted to wear makeup, she wasn't going to stop me. If I wanted to like, grow my hair, she wasn't going to stop me. If I wanted to cut it or dye it or whatever.
And this is all before puberty too?
I mean, like, it was less. I mean, it was always like it didn't just happen. She didn't say that after I came out. She always said that I could wear whatever I want. She always said that it didn't matter because those things were not important. Like, what you wear isn't important. How you are is important, and how you speak to people is important, and being nice.
Well, I mean, how you present is very important. I disagree with that, actually. I think how you present yourself, regardless of what clothes you decide to wear, your presentation is important when you step out into the world,
I think
right?
the point was that I shouldn't be worried about what other people say about what I wear. Like, the whole point was just like, don't listen to what anybody else tells you to do. You do you.
And did you go to a therapist, and did you like really did you go to therapy? Did you talk to somebody for years and years and years, and did you figure out like what the problem was?
I had years of therapy, years of psychological evaluation. It took really long. It took so much out of me. I was really tired, and people still question me all the time. I've been to therapy. You guys keep telling me to go to therapy. I still go. I have an appointment tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pulling up to my therapist's office.
What was your diagnosis? Do you have depression? Do you have anxiety? Do you have any other like comorbidities?
I have PTSD and then depression, yeah.
So you have PTSD, depression, and gender dysphoria.
Uh-huh.
It's funny. It's ironic because every person that I speak to that quote is trans, it always has like 2 to 3 other comorbidities. I just spoke to somebody yesterday that had also PTSD, depression, anxiety, and then also gender dysphoria. Is it possible that gender dysphoria is like a tertiary symptom from all your other comorbidities?
I don't think it could be, no, because trans people are everywhere, and they are all different types of people, and there are trans people who don't have other mental health issues, but that is quite uncommon because of the way that we treat trans people and the way that society treats trans people and the way that being trans just sucks, because dysphoria sucks, and dysphoria can give you depression. Dysphoria can make you anxious and make you depressed. So I think that maybe we should think about the link between gender dysphoria and making you depressed, and not depression giving you gender dysphoria.
I think we should think about the multiple comorbidities, the autism, the depression, the PTSD, the anxiety, the ADHD, all those comorbidities that often follow people when they say that they're also dysphoric. So I would say, I mean, I'm not a doctor, right? But I would just say that all these different comorbidities could also make somebody unhappy in their own skin, right? Like, you're depressed, you're unhappy. You're anxious, you have PTSD, you're unhappy. So all this can affect the way that you see yourself, the way that you present yourself. So this is all, if these all cluster together and they all magnify and they go, now you don't like who you are, and now you don't like the way that you look, and now you don't like the way that you feel about yourself in your own skin. What I would suggest,
have PTSD when I was 11, though. I didn't have PTSD or depression when I was 11 years old. So.
Or maybe you weren't diagnosed with it. Are you?
No, I was fine when I was 11, and then a bunch of stuff.
Right, and then the last thing I was going to say.
PTSD, that's how PTSD works. You get it.
And the last thing I wanted to say, I think. Sure, I agree with that. So I guess I don't want to go into your traumatic event. I'm just saying what I would suggest that doctors think about doing when it comes to this situation, especially when it goes to, comes to hormones and things like that, is treat the depression, treat the anxiety, treat the PTSD. All of these symptoms together, they're treatable, right? They're treatable. People can get over it, people can move on, people can live with this, right? Live with, depression and be okay and function and be, productive members of society. Why don't the doctors spend as much time as they possibly can treating all these other mental health comorbidities prior to going, hey, you know what, and I'm not saying just for you, Cass, because there's people I speak to that said, oh yeah, they have depression, anxiety, and then they have gender dysphoria, and then they medicalize them right away and fast track them on hormones. And I think it's strange that they would fast track somebody that's depressed with autism, PTSD, and anxiety, and put them on hormones immediately. They need to figure out the root of all these other comorbidities, and talk through them and see how you could deal and maneuver life with those comorbidities, and then see what happens after that. Because what I'm seeing from every other person usually, and again, not just you, is they'll say that they have all these comorbidities and gender dysphoria is the first thing that they treat. And that makes no sense to me. Why you would medicalize somebody and put a man on estrogen? Why would you put a male on estrogen that causes depression? It literally causes depression.
Okay. I really do see actually where you are coming from. I do kind of agree with you there. To an extent, I do agree with some of the things you said. I do think that it is important to treat issues such as depression and anxiety more, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like, you need to treat them. Like, you need to treat them aggressively. You need to treat them now. If someone comes to you, if you are a doctor and you diagnose somebody with depression, yes, you should 100% treat them for that. But like I said before, you're saying, let's discover the root of all these issues. The root could be the gender dysphoria, because gender dysphoria is pretty hard to live with, and it can make you depressed, and it can make you anxious about yourself, and it can make you feel worse in general just throughout your daily life, because it's an everyday thing. It doesn't go away.
You said it could be the root? You said that could be the root?
Yeah, my point is that, I'm flipping your point, is that you could also be right, is that, 100%, definitely there could be some other root of all of these things. There could be a completely different issue that's causing you to be depressed or causing you to be anxious or causing you to think that you have gender dysphoria. But that's what therapy is for, and that's what the psychological evaluation is for, and that's why I had to do multiple years of it before they actually gave me a diagnosis, because I can't just walk into an office and say I have gender dysphoria and they go, okay. So the point I was making is that gender dysphoria can be a really big cause of these issues for trans people.
What caused your gender dysphoria?
Less you're depressed because you've transitioned and now you're depressed, and more you have depression because you have gender dysphoria and it's really hard to live with that, and it's every day, and it's really tiring and exhausting to constantly have to battle with yourself and your own mind and not feel comfortable in your own skin. Imagine waking up every day and feeling really uncomfortable in the way that you are, the way that you feel.
But a lot of people feel like that already, and it's not just from gender dysphoria. People feel
there are other things that can
people
people
can't get out of bed. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that's why you go to a psychologist like I did, and you talk through those things with your psychologist and with your therapist, and you say, oh my gosh, I'm feeling all of these things, I need help. And they go, okay, here's all of these things that we can give you, and we're gonna give you therapy, and we're gonna get you to do these sheets every week and every day, and you have to fill in your mood, and you have to come and see us every 2 weeks, and blah 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 blah. They don't just jump to the gun. At least my doctor didn't, and most people that I know's doctors did not do that. Maybe that's happening, but that's not something that's my or other trans people's problem. That's a healthcare problem.
Okay, and now are you on hormones now?
Yes.
You're on estrogen and you're on blockers?
Mhm.
Okay,
You
and
wouldn't
be on blockers at your age. You'd just be on, estrogen and anti-androgens, not.
I'm on testosterone blockers.
Okay, yeah, anti-androgens.
Yeah, not like Lupron. There's other blockers as an adult, right?
Not puberty blockers.
Anti-androgens.
Puberty is over.
Blockers is usually used for puberty blockers, and anti-androgens are what you refer to for testosterone suppressors.
Feel on it, honestly. Forget your body. How does your mental health feel on estrogen and on blocker and on I guess the anti-androgens?
I'm happy. I'm relieved that I'm on it. I don't know. I guess like I'm not as anxious because I know that it's going to get better. For one, that the anxiety around my future and my life has lessened because I know that now that I'm on hormones, it's not going to be as difficult. Must say, I've definitely gained some weight.
I would argue that it would be more difficult for you. Are you in school? Are you going to work? Like, what's your plan for what's your 10-year plan? Are you going to go to school?
I'm in online school now.
Okay, and what do you want to do when you get your degree and you graduate?
Well, I'm studying photography, so I guess to be a photographer.
Okay, I mean, at least you have you have something set up. But do you think it's going to be harder for you to be a male presenting feminine, when you're going into the workforce? And I'm just playing devil's advocate here, just asking questions. And do you think that people's perception of you might be a problem when it comes to finding a job, unless you work for yourself?
Yeah, it has been a problem, definitely. It's been a problem before, and it could be a problem later. But I think that problem would arise whether I took hormones or not, because I would continue to present the way that I do.
I mean, it could be true, right? I think if you're taking hormones and you're feminizing your body and you're going to start to grow, boobs or whatever the case is, and you go out and you look for work, when you say that, you feel relieved and you're, optimistic and you think that things are going to be okay, I would say that. I mean, it's always good to look at the glass, half full rather than half empty. But I think you should look at the other side of, when you change your body. I mean, society is also not so, forgiving, right? And you might encounter problems. You might encounter problems later on when it comes to finding work and things like that. So, you may get your body where you want to, but you might not be able to get your financial situation where you want to because of all this.
Right. But let me just say this. If I wasn't on hormones in 5 years and I was still struggling with gender dysphoria, I wouldn't have a job. Because I wouldn't be able to get out of bed and actually bring myself to go outside. I used to have agoraphobia because I couldn't go outside because I was.
Oh, wait a second. So now it's that you have agoraphobia also.
No, I used to. I don't. I don't know. What do you call? I couldn't leave my house.
Couldn't leave the house. Yeah, I couldn't leave the house. My sister used to have that.
I could leave the house and then I would get really afraid and go back inside because I didn't want anyone to
That's my sister. Same exact thing. She would leave the house and have to turn around and couldn't get out of the house. And so this is just another comorbidity.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that if I continue to live the way that I was living, I probably wouldn't have a great quality of life because I wouldn't feel good. I wouldn't feel better. I wouldn't feel good. I would feel the same. I would still be as depressed as I was. I would still be really anxious about the way that people see me and the way that I see myself.
All right, last question.
Hate myself.
Okay, well, last question. Now that you're feeling better about yourself, now you use women's spaces, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, you don't use them. So, I mean, I guess it would be fine, right, if you just navigate your life and just stay out of, women's spaces. If you feel good now about yourself, you don't need to enter women's spaces to feel good, right?
No, I mean, it doesn't feel good, the thought of doing that. I wouldn't feel good doing that. I'd feel really guilty.
Okay, so you would just be able to live your life as just a feminine presenting man, and then you kind of see how it went from there.
I mean, yeah, and,
they said you work in the women's shelter, right? You volunteer there.
We need more gender-neutral bathrooms that I could use, but yeah.
I mean, all right, but you work in the women's shelter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a women's space, right?
Well, I don't know if you were here when I explained this.
I heard.
So there's men too.
Right, but the men working outside. All right, go ahead, Envy. I just wanted to ask.
No, they're not outside. That wasn't me. That was somebody else, girl.
Right, yeah, no, just very quickly. Star, can I get your age?
I'm 25.
25. And do you believe that trans women are women? Or?
No, not at all, no.
Okay, well, I am looking for opposition only at this time. So thank you for coming up, unless you want to make a statement before I drop you.
I just wanted to say something real quick. No offense to Kaz, right? But has it occurred to you that you're too obsessed with yourself, that you think about yourself too much?
I mean, you kind of just backhandedly call me self-absorbed, but no, I don't think I'm self-absorbed or that I think about myself too much. Because I'm not a very egotistical person, sir. I do not think very highly of myself, to be honest.
No. But I know in psychology there's two forms of narcissism, right? There's I'm the best person in the world, and then it's that everyone is against me. I'm the worst person in the world.
I don't believe either of those things, so conversation over.
listening to you, it sounds like you're obsessed with your appearance. You're obsessed with how other people perceive you.
Well,
and
we're
then
talking about that, so yeah, I'm going to be talking about that because that's what the conversation is about. Not because that's all I think about. I think about plenty of other things. That's what we're having a conversation about right now. We're having a conversation literally about how I see myself and how my family was reacting. That's what the conversation was about. So that's why I was talking about that.
It seems to me the crux of your issue is that your ego is too large, and you're obsessed with your place and how other people see you. And if you would just quiet that part of you, all your issues would go away.
Right, but you can't just stop being anxious about how people see you. That's not how anxiety works. So, oh, and he's gone.
Oh, he left. Hey, Michael, did you want to say something, babe?
Yeah, just real quick, Envy, and then I'll drop. So, Kaz, I was listening to your conversation with Christy. I'm a detransitioner, right? There was something that you mentioned in it that, your mental health, you didn't say that your mental health has improved, but, you said that you feel more relieved because, there's an end goal, etc. Have you ever thought about that you're sitting in a honeymoon period at the moment?
But Michael, can I get to animosity, babe? Can you just check your Discord quickly if you get a chance? Sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
That's fine. Just have you ever thought that you're sitting in a honeymoon phase at the moment?
What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is that,
like that I'm so like in love with this phase right now of like, oh my God, yay, like I'm on hormones finally, and then eventually it's gonna go away and I'm gonna be like, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I did, like I said, I did go to therapy for multiple years and had psychological evaluation for multiple years, which means I've had multiple years to think about it. And I'm like pretty sure this is a good thing. I mean, I'll send you a message in 5 years if I change my mind, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm pretty confident in my own judgment about my own life.
Yeah, but it seems that you couldn't answer the question if your mental health has improved.
I said
that you were relieved for.
I mean, I haven't really had any.
Sorry, 1 second, Kaz. You were saying that you were relieved for being put onto the hormones for starting this process. That to me tells me that you haven't dealt with any other underlying issue that you've got going, and I say that from experience.
And how I said 5 seconds ago that I've been going to therapy for years and psychological evaluations for years. That's where those issues get talked about. I don't just talk about being trans in therapy. I also talk about like the rest of my life and the things and the depression and the PTSD and all of it. It's obviously I don't just talk about being
number 2, honey.
Like, I mean, I guess if you want to think that it's a honeymoon phase, that's fine. But like I said, I feel I'm very confident in my decision and my own judgment about my life. And I've had a very long time to think about it and also unpack a lot of the other issues at the same time. Obviously, that's still going, and it's probably going to be going for a very long time because it takes a long time to heal from bad things. But like, I don't necessarily think that I'm going to heal from bad things one day and just decide that I'm not transforming.
And that is why you should not have been medicated for gender affirming care until you have dealt with them issues.
But that's not how that works.
I know it's not how it works, but that is what I'm saying. It should work like that. No one that has underlying mental health issues that have not been dealt with should be medicated with gender affirming care. You cannot answer a simple question of has your mental health improved?
But they should be medicated for those issues. That's fine. But it's not fine to be medicated for gender dysphoria. But it's fine to be medicated for other things without working through them properly. Do you think antidepressants are okay? Because antidepressants, people just get thrown on antidepressants without therapy.
Well, no, that's not how antidepressant works. Antidepressants are a temporary solution to a problem that is actually dealt with.
Not always, though. A lot of people, my stepmother has been on antidepressants for 6 years because she can't go off them because she relies on that medication to keep her going. So are we going to stop people from taking antidepressants or any other medication for any other issues because they have other issues? Oh, sorry, I can't treat you for depression because you have anxiety. I can't treat you for anxiety because you have ADHD. I can't treat you for PTSD.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
gay.
Michael, when
definitely
you're
does.
done, I'd like to ask some questions if possible.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to make a statement and then I'll drop down. It definitely does seem that you're still very much in a honeymoon phase at the moment, and this honeymoon phase is probably going to wear off. I'm not saying that it's going to wear off to the point where, you detransition, but it is going to wear off, and any issues that you haven't dealt with prior to starting this is going to come back. Going on to gender affirming care is not a solution for any other problem that you may have.
No, that wasn't the point. The point wasn't, I didn't think it was going to solve my depression. I knew very well that my PTSD was still going to be there after I took estrogen. I didn't think that the estrogen was going to get rid of PTSD that had nothing to do with me being trans. That wouldn't make any sense at all. I didn't take it because I wanted it to get rid of my depression, because the depression isn't the issue that I took it for. Oh, and he's gone.
Okay, Cass, could I ask you some questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Good thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to add on to the circular firing squad, and I have no animosity for you, just so you know. I was once in your shoes, medicalizing as a young man. So you said you started thinking you were trans, or you started having like these issues at 11?
Well, I mean, obviously I had it in my brain, I guess, since I was like younger, but I figured it out, yeah.
Are you gay?
I guess I like men and women, so
Men and women.
I guess.
So when did you first start feeling a body effect and a mental effect of gender dysphoria, and what did that feel like?
I guess like around puberty, when your body starts to really change and your voice gets deeper and like shoulders get broader and things like that, you get taller.
And what did the gender dysphoria feel like?
Just wrong. It felt wrong to be called a boy, and felt wrong to be seen as one. Like when people were calling me a boy, and I mean, it always felt weird to me because I didn't really understand why everybody saw me that way, because I didn't see myself that way. I was like, why does everybody else see me this way when I don't see myself that way? That's why it felt wrong, because it wasn't how I saw myself. So I was like, why everybody's calling me this thing, but I don't like that. I want to be called this thing instead.
And there's this sense of wrongness, and that's it?
I mean, are we talking like, you want me to delve really deep into how it felt?
Yeah, like so like I understand the sense of wrongness. I actually can relate to that a lot. I understand. When did it become more than just a sense of wrongness, or did it?
When I actually came out, because I was like, okay, this is obviously like a real thing, and then there must be something, because obviously other people didn't feel like that.
So you hit puberty at what age?
Probably around 11 or 12. Around that time.
You came out at the same time?
Yeah.
Because of the wrongness.
Yeah, and because it just felt like it didn't feel okay. There was just this issue that I needed to figure out what it was, and then I actually did so much research and stuff trying to figure out what was going on.
Completely. I was in a very similar place at a young age with that sense of wrongness and not understanding what was going on. So, like, you were doing, we didn't have the internet in my home, so there was no research to be done, just had to wait. So did it escalate, that sense of wrongness, between 11 and 18 as you matured?
I don't know, escalate. It was wrong in a different way. It felt different. Not necessarily, I mean, yeah, it got worse, for sure, when I actually started really going through PBE. Like when my voice started getting deeper, that was a really big thing. I really didn't like, I didn't speak for quite a while. When I was like, maybe like 14 or 15, that was probably like, when I was like 15, that was like when it was the worst. I really just I just could not handle it then. It was just
How did it feel? How did it feel at 15 when you couldn't handle it?
Like, I wanted to claw my skin off. Like, I just wanted to just not have a body and not have a brain. Like, I didn't want to be a person because I couldn't deal with, like, if being a person meant feeling the way I felt, I couldn't, because it felt so, like, every time I woke up, I just felt like my skin was wrong, and like everything was just wrong. It just felt wrong. That's the only, I don't know how to describe the feeling. It was just like when I perceived myself to be masculine, or perceived myself to look as though I were a man, I was like, no, that's not right.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
like that. It feels uncomfortable.
It's like a phobia of yourself as a man. It's like a
yeah.
phobia of your own body, of yourself as a man, of being perceived as a man, of other people looking at you and seeing a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand. You're like a couple of my friends. And they suffer a lot, but people don't really understand what they're going through.
It is definitely, it's such a nuanced thing. Everything is so nuanced, but being trans is not like how people think it is. It's not as simple as people paint it out to be either. It's not just like, oh, you get dysphoria one day and then the next day you're like, I'm trans, and then all of a sudden you're on medication and you're going into women's bathrooms. Like,
being trans, I don't want to offend you, and I'm not going to be hard or brutal like I am with older people. I'm generally very nice, young trans-identified males. I'm 34 and I'm medicalized at 17 for 17 years. I'm post-op and married, and detrans. But I do believe you. What you're describing is a type of trans that I know of. Trans is not one thing to me, though. It's actually several different things, and you fall into probably one of the most misunderstood demographics of trans that exists. I'm sorry you're going through this. I do believe that you're suffering with a phobia of your body, and I know that that can be very painful and torturous. I'm sorry. It's rough. I don't support you medicalizing. I don't think it's going to make it better, but I do understand why you're doing it.
I mean, I respect you for that. If you think that it's bad, that's fine. But also, in the nicest way possible, I don't really care.
Yeah, I know you don't, and that's why I'm not going to like come at you hard and criticize.
No, I'm like really thank you for like the way that you've spoken to me. It's I really do respect you for that, even though you disagree with what I'm doing.
I disagree with what you're doing because I don't think it's the solution to the problem I believe you have. And I also believe that gender dysphoria is a blanket diagnosis that encompasses several different things. I was misdiagnosed after a solid year of psychology and therapy in an attempt to diagnose. And there's a couple different types of MTS trans. We're different types of trans. But I do believe that you fall into the anatomical autoandrophobic type of trans, which is very unfortunate, especially if it's severe enough to hit you that young. I have several friends who became very autoandrophobic at an early age, and they're very different from, again, from, I don't want to upset you, but like as far as I'm concerned, I'm a Blanchardist. So, you know, like it sounds like what you're describing is anatomical AGP with interpersonal AGP with severe autoandrophobia, which sucks. It's a lot like several of my friends. Unfortunately, when people hear AGP, they think extreme raging late Han transvestite, and they don't think super autoandrophobic young man. They don't think about the people like you, which is kind of one of my big sticking points. Is we really need to diagnose things properly and look at the why, because everybody gets diagnosed with the what, and the what is gender dysphoria, but the why is so many different things. It's, you know, trauma-induced internalized homophobia and body dysmorphic disorder, or autoandrophobia caused by early onset AGP.
Can you tell me what an AGP is?
Well, at its base definition, it's a man's propensity to be sexually aroused by the thought of himself as a woman. But when you break that down, it's erotic target location error. An erotic target location error has impacts on men who like women, and if it's severe, one of those impacts is autoandrophobia, which is a phobia of oneself as a man. And that comes into play in interpersonal autoandrophobia, where you have like a literal skin crawling phobia of being seen as a man and being referred to as a man. It can have body elements where as your body develops into a man's body, you become obsessive and every single part of those changes just bothers you and tortures you. And it's really unfortunate. It is, because I think the trans community has really watered down what trans is in an attempt to mask it. And it's coming at the cost of people like you not understanding what they're going through.
I mean, I don't have a phobia now. Am I still
You're holding on. What you said earlier was that the estrogen helps because now you're not so worried for the future. And so what that tells me is you're looking at the future and you're going, one day people will look at me and not see a man, and that I will be okay because of that, right? You're thinking one day.
Now, though, like right. Most people in public refer to me as a woman. They don't. I mean, some people do.
You're not getting any direct benefits from it other than looking at your future and seeing that it'll get better because it'll be easier. Like you won't have to put on makeup, you won't have to do all this stuff, and you're feminine.
I don't wear makeup anyway.
Your body's not like continuing to masculinize.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, but at the same time,
like the progression towards being a man and growing old as a man. Like as you get older, you're not going to look like an old man. Doesn't the idea of growing old as a man kill you a little bit and alive you a little bit? It's like torturing, right?
I mean, like,
can you picture yourself as an old man in a suit with a beard?
I mean, yeah, but like I'm not afraid of that. I'm just like, I don't want that. It's not like, oh my God, that's going to kill me. It's just like, I don't want that for myself. That would not be how I want to live my life.
Yeah, maybe not extreme androphobia.
It's just like,
Niggers.
Fucking
what the fuck? Ew, that was so gross.
Nasty, man. They're just trying to take the live down because they're haters. Fucking haters, man.
Yeah.
I don't even get that. Why would you want to do that? That's just...
Yeah, man.
Be serious.
I don't know. I just think I don't like to think about it too hard, because if I do, I'm gonna end up getting stuck in a cycle of constantly thinking about it forever, and I really don't want to like over conceptualize my own identity to the point where I don't even have one anymore. If I just think about it too hard, I'm not even gonna be like myself. If I really think about who I am so hard all the time and the reason why I'm trans all the time, I'm probably just gonna have a fucking identity crisis or something, and like not know what to do with my life.
It's
many,
there's a lot though.
But I've spent many years telling people how I've lived my life and telling people that it's not like, oh, I'm just afraid of being a man. I'm not afraid of being a man. I'm not afraid. I'm not scared of it. It's not a fear. It's like I do not want that. That's not what I want. I don't like that. It's not like I'm like, oh my God, yay, somebody called me a woman when someone calls me she. It just feels normal. And it feels abnormal when someone calls me he.
Well, that's your problem, isn't it?
I never said it was yours.
Well, you're trying to make it our problem.
How?
By trying to fucking push the narrative that, oh yeah, I'm she, her, and all this shit. Fuck
yeah,
off.
But if you don't want to call me she, her, the fuck am I going to do about it? Beat you up? No, I'm going to walk the other way. No, actually, I would never do that. That's disgusting. People who do that are disgusting.
Nah, you know if you had one time with me.
I would
never
I
don't think he would.
I'm joking. I'm bantering with him. He knows. Kaz knows me.
I don't think he would do that.
I would never do that. But like,
no, I'm saying with you, Kaz.
And the people who do are insane, by the way. But I just like, if people don't want to call me something, we don't have to talk. We don't have to be friends. That's fine.
You know, like, Cass, do you intend on like do you use female spaces? Are you intending on like using eventually you're going to look, because you're medicalizing very young, eventually people probably
And
won't
Envy, I'm out here looking like a real woman, and you looking like a man with that big ass nose, that sharp ass jawline, them broad ass shoulders, bitch. You making fun of Cass, but she looks more like a real woman than you.
Whoa.
So how you gonna come up here and tell her the fuck
I don't know, Mr. Mason.
She looks way more like a woman than you. Like, I just checked her page. Cass looks like a cis woman, boo. We're still questioning in the comments if you're trans or not, Envy. Like, what's wrong with you, ho?
Honey,
Get a job.
This is completely derailing a productive conversation.
Wow. Why did you
People
run?
gonna chill. People really need to chill.
No.
Why, Mr. Mate?
So like I get that you've volunteered at women's shelters and stuff. You don't ever intend on pretending you're a female when you do that kind of work, do you?
Oh my God, no. I'm not gonna pretend to be female. That's crazy.
Good. Okay, yeah, no, like we should talk more. I actually am really enjoying this conversation, and your positions don't like make it so I can't interact with you in a respectful level. If you're going to stay out of women's spaces and you're not going to impersonate females on that level, then I don't really have a problem with you fundamentally. Like, I don't support that you're medicalizing, but the way you intend on going about your living your life is not one that I would fundamentally have a problem with. And thank you for, like, you know, being a good person on that level and like doing volunteer work at your age. I was doing the same thing when I was your age.
They needed help, so
yeah, it's good. It's good. Like, you know, not every young tortured autoantrophobic person is a bad person. Being this way doesn't mean you have to be a bad person.
I just, you know, I like having these conversations, but at the same time, it's a little daunting because it's like, is there actually an end point? Do we actually come to a consensus? Because there are so many opinions and so many people who are constantly being told different things by different people. Like the people that I know, I tell them my experience, and then someone else gets told a different experience, or somebody reads a headline. Like my nan sent me a headline the other day that was just like really bad. It was just from some random news website, and it was just like, oh, transvestite, blah 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 blah, and it's like the actual story didn't even make sense, but the headline was so demeaning, and it's like all you have to do is read that, and people just run with it. People really do run with a lot of things they see on the internet.
I've got to be honest with you, Cass, the backlash to the trans community is kind of good. It's necessary.
I mean,
it's creating political.
I'm getting shit held at me in the streets. Like
The average person, it's a good thing, because there's so many people who are violating women's spaces, who are breaking down boundaries in society, and there's a lot of people who are being misdiagnosed in the diagnostic process.
It's good to have a conversation.
He's not being diagnosed, and ultimately, like, you know, your nan, when she reads The Sun or whatever she's reading over there, I don't know your articles over there, your journalist, but, you know, when she reads that thing about the transvestite and gets angry, she might not really understand what's going on a deep level, but that anger is political willpower. You know, that does add up to vote sentiment, which adds up to politicians moving, and it matters. It matters a lot. And I'm sorry that you're choosing a rough life to medicalize as a TW in this day and age. But if you're not using women's spaces, I'm not going to drag you.
I mean, it's a rough life anyway. People, I'm not going to lie. I need to remove myself from these conversations at some point, because there are a lot of lives that I've been into where it's just pure abuse. People don't want to have conversations. And there are a lot of people who claim they want to have conversations and don't, really. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think if your mental health is suffering from it, you should definitely remove yourself from the conversation.
It's just like sometimes there are a lot of people who don't know how to have a debate or a conversation. They don't know how to just like sit down and talk about something instead of being hateful just for a minute. Like, I don't hate anybody. I don't hate anyone. I always try to not hate anybody. Even if someone's a really bad person, I'm not going to hate them. I'm just going to remove them from my head. But there are a lot of people who are very full of hate, and they don't care whether things are true or not, or whether I'm a person or not. They just see trans first. And because I'm quite young, people tend to be like, oh, you're not really trans, blah, 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 and whatever. I don't really care if people think I'm really trans or not. Like, that's not really, I don't really care
You're
about other people's
definitely really trans by the definition of trans, regardless of which definitions you use, even old school transsexualism. You know, like having a decent conversation with people on the internet in 2025 is like asking for snake eyes from 2D20. Like you're literally asking for snake eyes from rolling D20s.
When pigs fly.
Hold on, spare account. Can we just get what you think of the backdrop? Spare account at the top. Hello. Oh, okay.
She said something before, and then she kind of just disappeared. Someone in the comments, what do you want from the general public? You know, empathy, respect. I feel like people really do lack empathy nowadays. Nobody can put themselves in anybody else's shoes and be like, how would I feel in this situation? And they don't want to.
I think, like, if you're dressing appropriately and respectfully and looking normal and not looking like a freak, generally it's pretty smooth walking through society. Like, I have no problem. I've been in like so many different countries, you know, tinkled in the men's around the world as a post-op, and I've never had problems.
I mean, you're pretty lucky in that respect. I've had many problems over the years, and what did you say you were 34?
What was that?
Did you say you were 34?
I'm 34.
I mean, you're pretty lucky to have not had any problems, girl. I got problems. I always have problems, and there's a lot of people that I know get a lot of abuse from.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, I was a Straggett Crossy that was homeless with my teeth broken from my pimp smashing my face here, and I traveled across my whole country, 26 states, and not a dang thing. Like, literally, maybe I got a couple glares once.
I mean, hold up. Props to you for that, and props to you for surviving that.
Oh, yeah, like, just throwing it out there, though. Like, I did not pass when I was younger at all. I didn't even look like I was pretty rough. I had long hair, and I'm small and petite, so if people didn't scrutinize me, sure. But under scrutiny, definitely not. And I didn't get treated poorly, and at least not in my country. I don't know what it's like in the UK. But in Southeast Asia, it's great. In Canada and Mexico and America, it's great.
I mean, the only thing here is that, I mean, I love the UK, don't get me wrong, my homeland, but also, like, I hate the UK because a lot of British people are really rude. Our whole thing is supposed to be polite, but a lot of British people are actually really rude.
Yeah, no, I know. I like literally almost, I think like probably like 40% of my female turf friends are all British turfs, and they're so great. They are so catty and blunt, and they tell you exactly what they're thinking, and you just know that they would do that. Like some of my friends, I know for a fact that if I caught them sitting at a coffee shop, like on like one of those little outdoor tables under the umbrella, sipping their coffee, I know that if they saw the transvestite walk by, they would like sip their tea and be like, "You're a bloke in a dress," and everybody knows that you're a crook in a frock.
You're a crook in a frock. I don't see.
Envy, you gotta use that one at some point.
What, cock
in a frock?
Yeah, that's going in your arsenal.
No, that's where I must you got it from.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's the British term.
Of course it is.
I can't. I've been using that. And that came from Ginger Nut, actually.
He's a bird.
He's a bird. Very quickly, spare accounts. Are you there?
Tried to get them to talk, and they didn't answer, so I'm not sure what's going on.
So we drop them. We should drop them. Guys, whilst everyone is in here, next Friday, if you guys are free, feel welcome to come to my live. We are going to have story time. Animosity, are you going to come?
It depends on when it is. I work on Fridays, so I'm back to working again. Yeah, like, You're 8 hours ahead of me, so I go to work at like 8 o'clock in the evening your time.
At 8 o'clock in the evening, my time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I could probably...
Envy, when are you going to do a story time about how you lost your house, you big-nosed homeless bitch?
I go to work at 7
Oh, my
o'clock.
God.
Your
Yeah,
time.
listen, pussy, I haven't lost my house yet, dum-dum. Sorry, go ahead, Animosity.
Yeah, 7 o'clock in the evening your time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'll like basically never be around.
Shall I move it to Saturday? Guys, would a Saturday be better?
Saturday, I am off at 9 o'clock in the evening, so I can always catch your Saturday stream towards the end because you stream really late.
Oh, so you are working. Oh, so what, are you going back to, is it full-time?
No, it's not actually. I basically work part-time just for like the health insurance. So it's like 4 days a week and like 24 hours. It's not a lot at all.
Okay, all right, so yeah, I think it's Saturday. Everyone thinks, could I get a 1 in the chat for a Saturday?
Yeah, I think Saturday works. Dom says he can be back Saturday too.
I'll work through it. So, Ella, when's good for you then, babe? Saturday, Sunday? Oh, everyone's saying one. A story time. We're going to have a little story time. So we're going to be debating. Okay, so, all right, Ella, Saturday, babe, yeah? All right, then, babe, we'll do Saturday. All right, guys, date change. Next Saturday. Should be an interesting story for everyone.
I'm kind of amazed they haven't like gone after my job yet.
Okay, it's a secret.
What's the story time? Oh my God, Envy, did you see the Daviana thing?
No, Christy was telling me about it though.
Yeah, there's a post on all my pages. Yeah, we got his divorce court records. It's bad.
Oh.
It's really bad, girl. Like, it's really, really, really bad. His wife was literally saying he's a sex addict in the affidavit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You didn't see it at all? Hang on. Let me
No.
They still gave him 50-50 custody.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, let me give you a real quick rundown before you go. I've got that one. This is the one that you should look at, Envy. Look at this.
No, I'm not getting off, Tom.
Serious sex addiction. You're not getting off?
No.
Oh, let me go to my computer and I can show you. Yeah, hang on, because I don't want to leave it up too long. I'll go to my computer and show you. Girl, this is crazy. I can show you the camera on the computer. That'll be less likely to get struck down. I did a whole post on Twitter about it. Here we go. And try to flip that. No, I flipped that way. And then I clear the effect. Okay. So Daviana, right? And in his divorce records, she says that his mental health concerns, erratic behavior, and unpredictability have made her extremely concerned for her daughter and her own health, safety, and well-being if they remain under the same roof. He's constantly arguing, yelling, and threatening her. So she says, David has a serious sex addiction, which has also been escalating. He's recently been coming home 1 to 3 times a week to cross-dress. He often leaves out clothing, wigs, nails, makeup, or sex toys, and our daughter comes home to find these items throughout the house. Just the other day, I opened the shower curtain to draw a bath for her and found a schmildo stuck to the shower wall. She's too young, and it'll be confusing for her to see Daddy playing dress-up. We've mutually agreed not to expose her to that lifestyle of his, yet he's often found on websites on both his computer and phone while she's in his presence. I've also caught him on adult websites while she's been sitting on the same couch as him.
They gave him 50-50 custody.
Yeah, they gave him 50-50 custody. There's a part where apparently he went to the police and said that she was committing a hate crime on him because of his cross-dressing. So he framed his fetishistic cross-dressing as transgender, and basically, even though she was telling the judge that it was sexual, that that's what it was, and all of this stuff, the judge was just like, thought that she was a bigot, probably. Probably thought that she was a bigot because she was trying to get sole custody. She didn't want him to be able to see the daughter except for with supervised visitation. She didn't want the daughter to be exposed to his cross-dressing. And like they ruled in favor of him, and like his gym, by the way, his gym is going under because he posts that kind of stuff on it. I can't show it on TikTok, but his gym used to be like this. And now it's covered in him in fishnets and him doing sexual things. There's scenes of him chained up in fishnets on his gym's page. So that's why his gym is going under, because he took his cross-dressing to his business, started cross-dressing at his business, started posting sexualized images of him with whips and chains.
He also dresses as a woman while he has clients in his gym.
Yeah, he dresses and cross-dresses while he has clients in his gym. So no wonder the gym is going under when this guy decided to suddenly start cross-dressing. His gym went from having him and her and being like this family gym, the daughter's there, and it's like a more wholesome environment, to suddenly this guy divorces his wife and starts cross-dressing at the gym and posting BDSM-style images on his gym's homepage and social media. That's what he did. And so that's why his gym's going under. And it's crazy because there's all these women donating, and they have no idea that this guy abused his wife, that she didn't want his daughter exposed to this, that it was this ugly, and that he destroyed his own gym when his AGP consumed him. And he's on here using trans to basically leech money off of women while simultaneously looking for a new girlfriend. And as he describes, he wants her to be perfect and hyper-sexual and take care of him. Like, this guy is a POS, and women on this website need to know.
He's also had minors on his panel.
He's what?
He's had minors on his panel.
Has he?
Yeah, there's a 15-year-old up on his panel one day.
Well, and he knew, and he was just talking with them?
He's just talking to them. He's got this whole meet and greet set up and all kinds of shit.
Oh.
Yeah. People need to know about this guy.
All right then.
He gives minors advice on like transitioning and shit.
He was talking to a young woman the other day about telling her mother that she was trans. And he even brought up, like, you don't want to just go in there and say you want a double mastectomy because that's going to freak her out, kind of stuff.
He's telling them what to say to the doctors and shit.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Would we have clips of it?
So I'm banned on 3 accounts because I've been recording him and cross-posting him onto Twitter. I had to make a couple more accounts that were less obviously me, but we need to get the clips. We need to record him, and we need to be watching him because we need to expose what he's doing on here. Like, and people, like, if you see any, like, people who are supporters of him who are GC, please direct them to that post. Please download the post with the marriage documents. If you look in the comments on my pages, at least on one of the pages, I think I did it on my main page, on my main account that's got like 3,500 followers. I did a post and I said, if I get taken down for this, that's fine. People need to know. Look at that post and look at the comments. You have to show the hidden comments because TikTok started flagging them as spam.
Also, his daughter was picked on.
And all the screenshots are there.
His daughter was being picked on at school because of this, and his daughter told him that she doesn't like it, and she wants him to dress as a man. And he completely dismissed that and still carried on what he's doing. This little girl gets picked on at school because he comes to pick her up dressed the way he dresses.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Putting his... Poor girl, man. How old is she?
7?
This is about David, yeah. We're talking about David. Yeah, please, Envy, if you can, like, I'll send you on Discord, but anybody who's listening, go to my main account. It's my most recent post.
Yeah.
It's like that account is one strike away from being banned, so it'll probably be banned for leaking that. But in the comments of that post are just pictures I posted of the court documents. So you can go screen grab them, share them to his GC followers. Like, people need to know.